Alright guys, so in this video what we're going to be doing is basically we're going to be going over probably one of my favorite setups, which is the break and the retest setup. So in this video what we're basically going to be doing is looking for the highest probability setups. My favorite one of them obviously being a break and retest setup, and we're going to go over this break and retest setup. Now typically on a break and retest setup you can look for them on literally any time frame. My personal favorite when I trade the indices market being the NASDAQ, the US 30 market, or the Dow Jones, or the S&P 500. My favorite time frames to look for these setups are going to be the 5 and the 15-minute time frame. Now, when it comes to these setups, one thing to understand is going back to our entries, going back to our stop loss placements, going back to our take profit placements, we grab those same concepts and literally use them in this specific setup. So when it comes to the break and retest setup, again, you have your entry methods, you have your entry signals, which are going to be conservative and the aggressive entry methods. Stop loss always goes above or under that area of support, and then your take profit is going to be your next level of structure. So now without any further ado, let's get into the charts and break this down. So like I said again, guys, basically you could look for this setup on any time frame in specific, but my favorite time frame to look for the break and retest setup on is going to be the 15-minute and the 5-minute time frame, especially when I trade the US 30 market, which is the Dow Jones index, when I look at the NASDAQ market, or when I look at the S&P 500 index. So as you guys can see in this situation here, all of these horizontal lines that I have on my screen are going to be support, are going to be resistance levels. So as you can see over here in this situation, essentially what you would have looked for is for price to break under support, wait for price to retest, but notice how price never gave you that retest and rejection. That is a key. You look for a retest and you look for a rejection. In this situation, price broke right back above. With this being a major area of support, notice how price broke right back above, continue to make new highs, retested, rejected. That is when you enter the market. If you're entering on an aggressive entry signal, you enter the market right once that rejection actually closes. Your stop loss will go under the low. And again, this was a previous area of support. Notice the break above, notice the retest, notice the rejection. And then your take profit is going to be your next area of support, which you could have taken profit at the highs here, or you could have again looked left. Structure will always leave clues, and you could have targeted this major area of support over here. Now, let's say price continues to go on, make new highs. We have price break above this major intraday area of resistance and support on this hour time frame. As you guys can see, we're still on a 15-minute time frame here. We have price come and break above and close above over here. Price pulled all the way back down and actually rejected here. So we have the rejection of this support level. We have the break, we have the retest, we have the rejection already. Again, we're going to be answering right once that rejection candlestick actually closes. Stop loss is going to be under support. And then in this situation here, you want to look left. Structure will always leave clues. And you could use these areas as different take profit areas, but you could have definitely set a take profit at the next highs being your next area of resistance, which that would be the nearest area of resistance. But I mean, your risk to reward ratio was so positive that you could have closed the position at any point in time. And then over here, now I want to show you guys where the setup wouldn't have actually made any money realistically. Well, I'm actually going to stay away from this area because that was all CPI. And again, you trade CPI very differently than how you would trade normal price action on a day-to-day basis. But now I'm going to show you guys different examples here, but there's not many breaks and retests. This is also a news event. It's definitely very choppy in the holidays. Okay, so this black horizontal line is going to be a level of resistance on the daily time frame. Notice how price broke under this daily area of previous resistance. Now price made new lows, pulled all the way back up and gave you the rejection here. Right once this rejection actually closed is when you could have potentially taken the entry. Your stop loss goes above the high of resistance. Your target is going to be support, which you would have gained 2 times your risk here. And if you would have held the position to your next support level, you could have potentially gained 4 times your risk. Again, the concept is the same here. Price came to support, broke, formed new lows, pulled back to resistance, retested, rejected, and then that's when you take your entry. Very, very, very simple stuff, guys. It's not a too complicated setup. I don't really want to spend like a million hours showing you guys like different breaks and retest setups, because honestly, the setups are really all the same. It's very repetitive, right? So here you go. Here's another example. You could probably use the 5-minute time frame to be a little bit more accurate. But here's resistance. Notice price hold as resistance. Here's the break above, pullback, retest, and the rejection being this candlestick right here. Then you have a buying opportunity right when that candlestick closes, stops under support. Take profit is going to be your resistance level, which, as you guys can see, this is my next resistance level. It is my next intraday level, and you would have gotten 2.3 times your risk there. Again, it's the general concept of your stop loss when you're buying goes under support, your take profit goes to your next resistance level. Vice versa when you're selling, your stop loss goes above resistance. When you're selling, your take profit is your next support level. Now, I'm trying to look for different setups, things along the lines here for these breaks and these retests, but even here's another setup over here on a break and retest setup. So notice price attempt to reject previous support, but actually ended up closing back above. So in a situation where price closes above and continues to go up and break resistance and it didn't hold the support, you can wait for price to pull back down into your support range, retest, and then look at the clean rejection that you had here. Look at price completely move away and make new highs. So again, in a situation where this is your support level, I'm going to grab one of my drawing tools here. This is your support level. You see price kind of coming down, making new highs, retesting, rejecting, and then ultimately it came down and broke under support being here. When price comes up and doesn't actually break, and doesn't actually retest and reject, and actually continues to break above your support level, remember, price is now above support. Support is still your floor. So this will be a pretty good buying opportunity if price could come down, retest your previous support level, and if it continues to hold its support, then you can continue to look to buy it up in that same direction, right? Just to give you guys a quick kind of example there. We went over some buy, break, and retest. We went over some sell, breaks, and retests, but honestly, like I said again, I don't want to spend too much time on these breaks and retests because the concept is very, very simple. So here we have another area of support that initially price broke under, came back above, retested, rejected. You could have sold most likely after this rejection here because this one didn't reject, and you definitely wouldn't have sold after this rejection because price moved too far away for risk to reward purposes. And again, right, if we would have sold right after this rejection here, stop loss goes above the high, take profit goes under the low. Oh, sorry, I used the wrong long and short tool. Stop loss goes above the high, take profit is your next low. You could have maybe squeezed out 2 times your risk on this position ultimately before breaking even, but notice how on the break and retest you had a retest and then multiple other retests after that, and then price still continued to go down. You guys have to remember, this is an overall zone that we're looking at here. It's not a specific horizontal line. So notice how the break and retest was definitely still valid all throughout here. Now, in a situation with a break and retest where you have price close above and then you wait for a retest to buy, but then it closes back under, the best thing to do in that situation is wait for the retest of the zone again, with a stop loss above the high, or once price closes back under, remember, now it closed back under resistance, it closed back under your roof, you can continue to look to sell it at that point in time. And that's pretty much simply it, guys. It's nothing more complicated to it than that. That is going to be the break and retest setup, or when you mark it off in your journal, it's going to be B/R setup for a break and retest to keep it as simple as possible. Without any further ado, I will talk to you guys in the next video.